Have you ever wondered what it would be like if half your world vanished? Well, for people living with hemispatial neglect, this is their reality.
Okay, students, you may begin writing.
The professor starts walking around class and notices one student is only writing on one side of the paper.
Haley, you're only writing on one side of the page. Is this some sort of joke to you?
Oh, well, actually.
Ah, stay after class. We need to talk.
So, what you witnessed during class is actually a result of a brain condition I have known as hemispatial neglect. Hemispatial neglect is a disease caused by damage to the brain, particularly in the parietal lobe.
Here's an image showing the parietal lobe of the brain where the damage to this area is likely to cause hemispatial neglect. As shown here, this area of the brain manages a lot of different aspects, including recognition, body function, and sensory processing.
The disease is characterized as a lack of sensory awareness on one side of the body, and it is typically caused by a traumatic brain injury, which in my case was a stroke.
Wow, I've never heard of this. What does this mean for you in terms of functioning in everyday life? Following your stroke, how did you find out that you were suffering from this condition?
Since I was neglecting the left side of my body, such as not eating food on the left side of my plate or only putting makeup on the right side of my face, it was easy for my parents to notice that something was wrong. They were suspicious that this could be a result of my stroke and decided to take me to a neurologist for more testing.
Wow, this is fascinating, especially since it didn't seem to you like you were neglecting your left side, but it was very obvious to your parents. What about diagnosis and treatment?
For diagnosis, there are some tests that can be used to help indicate whether or not a patient is suffering from this. In my experience, I was given a line bisection test, which is a common test given in order to spot neglect. There are more advanced tests today that involve tracking eye movement to help recognize the extent of the neglect.
Here's an example of a line bisection test. The goal of this test is to place a vertical line through the center of a series of horizontal lines. On the left is how a normal healthy person would perform on the test compared to the right, which is what the test would look like if performed by someone with neglect.
In terms of treatment, there are a few different treatments and therapies currently being used. Most common treatments include optokinetic stimulation, neck muscle vibrations, electrical stimulation of the neck, and caloric stimulation. The treatment used is dependent on the severity of the neglect.
Caloric stimulation. I feel like I may have read about that one. Isn't that when cold water or warm water is inserted into the opposite ear from the affected side?
Yes, this can show some signs of improvement and can cause a shift in gaze, but these treatments do not cure hemispatial neglect. The brain will often heal itself over time in conjunction with the treatment.
This has all been so interesting. Thanks for letting me know all about your unique condition.